Yeah, it's on now. You what? That'd be cool. I love you. I have paperwork. Yeah. I want to make sure I do it all correctly.
Okay, everybody. As we wander in, please pay attention to your breathing. Pay attention to your breathing. Pay attention to your breathing. How deep are you breathing, please?
May I begin? May we begin?
Well, if they come in, they already know who both of us are.
Oh,
So
yeah, I really.
I'm gonna go out there and yell. I think I should go out there and
So
yell.
today we're going to have a wonderful presentation from Dannion Brinkley. It's called You Are a Light Bearer. And on behalf of Conscious Life Expo, we welcome all newcomers as well as longtime attendees. How many are newcomers? Whoa!
Oh, great! I can use some of my old jokes. It's gonna be great. Ah!
Thank you for gathering here to help our community heal. The power of collective consciousness can be a beacon of hope and recovery. I just want to let you know that we are recording all the presentations here, and you can get recordings beginning tomorrow. Dannion will also appear later today, tomorrow. He'll be on the George Norrie Forum, and that's called What Happens When We Die. So he'll be doing that at noon tomorrow.
Okay, if you don't have tickets, I'm going to tell you all that story today.
Cool. So Dannion Brinkley is the #1 pioneer in the field of near-death experience. I just made that up, but it's absolutely true. He is. He's the author of the international New York Times best-selling book series, Saved by the Light, A Peace in the Light, and Secrets of the Light. Struck by lightning in 1975, Dannion was listed as clinically dead for 28 minutes. His near-death experience transformed not only himself, but millions of people through his books, his hospice volunteer program, the biopic movie about his life, and workshops such as this one here today. My life was transformed by Dannion's books and workshops because he taught me that no one dies and every breath matters. You are in for a treat. I give you the legendary Dannion Brinkley.
Thank you. Okay, so we're back into the breathing business now. What I need you to do is think about your breaths for a couple of moments. Be real serious. And think about the value of your breath. Because remember this, life is a breathing exercise. And if you did not atomically breathe, how important would the next breath be right this second? Life is a breathing exercise. You one breath when you come here, and you one breath away from leaving here. And all you're doing is measuring those lives, the value and the life of those breaths in between. Now that's reality. So I need you to breathe deep. Hold your most sacred place, the most sacred place that you can find in yourself. And that we have the privilege of gathering together to be among each other as light bearers. And that we have that right to gather under that banner that we are light bearers. You came to see whether you were or whether you weren't. Would you leave here with that answer? That would occur, then let the love that we would receive in knowing that piece of information flow. Take a deep breath. Flow to all those who have lost every physical thing and the emotional struggle that comes with that. Let us that we have had the sanctity of gathering at this moment as light bearers, that our love and our grace flows in these breaths that we breathe out to each of them, that as we get together, our love goes to them. Now let's do this 3 times. Once. Twice. 3 times. Right, so we have to understand what a light bearer is. Somebody keeps the lights on. And so if you were a light bearer, wouldn't it be a perfect time for your asses to be here? Okay, so let's kind of ground with where we are. The world is coming to an end. And the world that you saw before or was born in, it is completely gone. And after 2008, all we're doing is watching it fall apart. Okay, so as that's occurring, it helps us divine our position in who we are as spiritual beings here as light bearers. Get over the rest of that. The rest of it's poppycock. We are great, powerful, mighty spiritual beings with dignity, direction, and purpose. End of the story. There is no other way here. You cannot get here without being those things. And then you're chosen, and then you choose, and then you come. End of story. All that other stuff, who even knows? Okay? Come on. Come on. I was talking to this guy the other day, and he was all on me about cremation. And I said, look, I don't really understand all what people do and the sanctity of it and all of that. And I don't like to argue with people's religions. I said, but when I was paying attention to funerals and why you had funerals, it's something that we got from the Egyptians who had worn it out for like 4,000 years. Watch this. And I said, so in Christianity it says that you're going to lie in that box until Jesus returns and throws Satan in the lake of fire. And no one will go, and Jesus will come up and raise up his own and take you to heaven. Well, I thought, well, where are you between those two places? Where are you? Well, the funeral parlor says you was in that box lying in the dirt. So I thought, well, you know, when Jesus gets back, I hope I own a backhoe to help dig up all those bodies so people can get to heaven. God, you know how crazy that stuff is? You know how crazy it is when you listen when you're me? I've been struck by lightning, dead. Everybody said, I had a near-death experience. Well, guess what? I had 2 death experiences and 2 or 3 near-death experiences. Okay, so I've been struck by lightning, dead for 28 minutes. Open heart surgery, brain surgery, open heart surgery, and had to be cardiac resuscitated 3 times at the end of the last open heart surgery. Don't try to tell me. Don't even try it. All that stuff is craziness. Ain't nobody gonna die. You hear me? It will not happen. Get over it. It will not happen. And every way you've ever been told it was going to happen is nonsense. Nonsense. So people say, well, you know, I had me a near-death experience. Well, yeah, well, you know, next part of the conversation. Okay, so watch. Everybody wants to know what's next. Well, what about being here now? I'd rather know that. So what we're going to do is, as light bearers, we're going to look at the near-death experience from a light bearer point of view. So light bearers are, okay, so we have a near-death experience, and we have thousands of them. We have thousands of them. And they have certain basic things that happen with them and certain basic things that go along with them. And one of them is that the way they're describing what happens to them defies everything we've ever heard or been told about death. And what they're saying and what we've been told in religions and institutions and governments about who dies, how they die, and why they die doesn't happen. Number two, they look down and they say they look down at their body. They watch them lying in the bed, lying in the street, across the place, flat out. They're looking at their body. Well, what does that tell you? That tells you you are not that body. You are not that body. All us dead sons of bitches tell you ain't. Okay, well, guess what? You ain't. Take a breath. Come on, let's have some fun. The only thing you're going to hear from me is the truth. Get over it. The only time truth hurts is if you hide from it too long. And if your job is being a light bearer and you showed up here this afternoon, it means it's about to start, and you have to have a calm, level way to look at it to be able to do something about it. The world is going crazy. And that's exactly what it's doing. Well, good. We're finally getting some decent employment. I'm going to have to negotiate the wages. Come on, breathe, everybody. If you're not going to die, that ought to be a moment where you take a breath. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen no matter what you think. Sorry. And you're not that body. It's a byproduct of a reality of something called the near-death experience, coined by Raymond Moody. But it doesn't change anything about what the truth is. And then number three, in what state are you in the place of observation? As the observer, what state are you in? Okay, it's got to be a solid, liquid, or a gas. So you cannot say that you're a gas. You cannot say that because that's only three, but now because of quantum we have what's called plasma, another level, the cycle of four. Not three, but four, north, south, east, and west, earth, wind, water, and fire. How all that stuff synchronizes, we have a plasma. Well, that would dictate us a cellular, ethereal, energetic pattern, capable of causing or moving through dimensional reality if it was existing around us. Basic quantum perspective, which happens to be true. Take a breath, come on, you get it. So, when you're looking at the near-death experience, then there is a plasmatic state. Then you start breaking down what those states are. I'm not this body. But then what's the body good for? It's a useful tool to get around for whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing here. I better take care of it. But it ain't me. So you have to treat it like one of your children. Battle for the souls of humankind will be fought in healthcare. I've been saying it 50 years. Look at where medicine is. Look at what we now know. I can stand here and think about this for a moment. I wrote a whole chapter on this in Saved by the Light 30 years ago. It's something I wrote down in 1977, the legendary boxes of knowledge. Because when I was on the other side in the first time, I went to this place where these beings of light were, and each one of them, there was a 13th being, and of the 12 beings in front of me, each one was given like a pattern or a significant from the one on the upper right, and then that being would come at me. And as it would come at me, and it would be like a laptop. I mean, it would like open up a box, and then I would move into this place where I was sensitive to it with human senses. Whereas on the other side, I was not sensitive. I was sensitive, but I was not attached to anything using my senses, smell, touch, taste, like that. But I could smell the stuff burning, and I could see the things going on, and I wrote them when I could write in 1977, I wrote them down. And when I went to put them in Saved by the Light, because that was 20 years later, the publisher didn't want to publish the book, because if he published the book, then there were some of the things that I had said that the beings of light had shown me, that were too close to coming true. I said, well, then I'm not going to publish the book, because this stuff came to me when the paperwork of me going into the hospital, patient unconscious, patient not breathing, no EKG. That's what the emergency room piece of paper said in September 17th at 7:05, 1975. Patient unconscious, patient not breathing, no EKG. Now, I don't know what you would call that. Okay, but I got a good idea what it is. So today, in February 2025, it's all come into existence. It's all there. For me, it means there's a life after death. And I think that was my driving goal. Because if I could give anybody anything, it was the fact that a part of you will leave this world. But what you have to realize is that part was never here. So if you're plasmatic, that means you're an electrical being. And to bring it down to where you can look at it, because you can't understand the ethereal organic power, okay, you have to look at it from a way you can understand it. Electricity, proton, electron, neutron, positive, negative, neutral. Then you look at it, you have a place to look at it. It's far more complex and far more quantumly powerful and far more expansive. Come on. But as a light bearer looking at the near-death experience, these are the conclusions you would take away. A light bearer has to have a reason to themselves for why they're doing what they're doing. A light bearer has to have a reason to themselves to why they're doing what they're doing, because everybody doesn't do everything for the same reason, because of the nature of the value structure they have created in being, becoming the being of the ethereal, natural, spiritual identity perspective that they truly are, that they've earned the right to be there. In the story. We're not struggling, whining, crybabies, hoping somebody's going to like us because we want to be nice. We're tired of being taken advantage of because we've all being nice and everybody just gets weird. And then there's something wrong with you for being so nice after they've been whatever it was they've been. Here's another funny, okay, you ready? I live in a house that was built in 1805, and it's been where we've lived since forever. And I have the history of America in Aiken, South Carolina. I mean, I have the history of America, the journals and papers and all that kind of stuff. I have a Bible from 1777 or 1778. You know what it talks about? It talks about the 13 months in the calendar year, and that every one of them was 28 days. And then it had a little astrology chart. Now in that Bible today. What happened? What happened? We have 12 months. Okay, something. But what's this? How did we get where we are today? We have the Julian calendar, from the Gregorian to Julian calendars. Well, what that means is we're living on a time frame and a time perspective that some pope in the 1400s decided he needed 2 more days added to reality so he could have a certain pagan celebration happen on his birthday. And we have February. And so we think we're on time, in place, ready to go, in the right year, at the right time, today in our lives. Well, that's insane. There's no way except that you say everybody else does it is what makes it right. See how crazy all this is, everybody? Take a breath. Come on, if you're not breathing over, you're going to miss how much fun it is. I'm only going to give you the keys. I'm going to give you the keys so you quit messing around. Stop messing around. Get to it. The world is moving really, really fast. Don't think that it's not. Got to be ready. Got to be taking care of yourself. Got to keep your heart open, and you got to keep focused, and you got to know what you're doing. Keeping the light on means managing love. Keeping the light on means taking the time to really pay attention to you and not let anything anybody else does or thinks about it affect you paying attention to you. And set some kind of time, some kind of timeline in how you deal with that, or it will overtake you. And I hate to say that that's its job, but we would be unemployed if it wasn't out there. Take a breath. You're finally saning up. Look how you are. Y'all finally getting calm. Boy, y'all some stressed out babies, I swear to God. Daddy's here. Why I think everything is fun? I was the meanest son of a bitch you ever seen in your life, and I'm smart too. Okay? All right? All right? So I look at stuff because I can say this to anybody. I didn't die like you say I'm going to die, and I didn't go to hell. So that makes half of what you said stupid. And the other half is funny because we're not talking about a future event. We're talking about a reality. Next perspective. Take a breath. You are the same as me. You are the same as me. We bad. What you do is you're replacing your love with articulation. Our power is our skill to observe, to appreciate, and decide an action, decide a course of action. I do it automatically. Somewhere along the line, that skill has gotten rusty in you because you feel you've been betrayed. I wish I could say that you're forgiven from feeling betrayed, but that's on you. And the fact is that that's what happened. Well, wait, come on. I'll be passing the plate and all that kind of stuff. Be sending you for absolutely free for $2. I'll send you the hand of God. Take a breath. I'm going to give you a funny. You ready? So, about 100 years ago when I first started talking, and I used to take my Southern style and the nature of me, and I would have a lot of fun. And I'd like to give you one of those old-time performances. It's like a moment of memory. So bear with this because I'm an old man now, so I can't click around like I wanted to. But when it was early in the death and dying business, it was just me and Crazy Raymond, 2 or 3 other people, okay? So I had to give people a way to take the Southern nature of me and to look at what I was trying to tell them because people need to learn to laugh. What are they going to do? Kill me? Pull out some fingernails? They don't know what lightning is to some fingernail pulling. Okay? So I'd say, I was trying to figure out where religion, after I didn't die and I didn't go to hell, and I've been going to hell since I was 5 years old. Everybody's going, you're going to hell. That son of yours, Margie, he's going to hell. Okay, well, it never happened. Didn't go to hell. So I was trying to figure out, where did fundamentalism come from? So I decided to go to these fundamentalist churches down in the South, and we got plenty of them down there, They passing snakes and drinking chicken blood. I mean, that crowd's making it happen down in the Carolinas now. So I get to about my third rocking and roll place, and I'm watching, everybody was dressed reasonably nice, and I'm looking around, and I couldn't figure out why everybody had on some kind of tennis shoes. Okay, and they're all dressed with tennis shoes on, so I'm watching, and the preacher gets up there. And he starts saying, "Oh, let it go, Jesus, go on. Please come and save these sanities and have mercy." So I thought to myself, I finally figured out who invented fundamentalism. It's the guy who has the patent on preparation H. Now that was funny in 1997, okay? So let me tell you one more. Then I had these two nuns. I was like in Wisconsin or somewhere. And I said, well, after I left the Holy Rollers, I decided to go check out and see what Catholics were doing. I don't have a chair, but so what I would do is I would say, well, I went in, I sat down, and I was sitting in a chair, and then I would get down, then I'd stand up. Then I'd sit down, then I'd get down, and I'd stand up. Then I'd sit down, I'd get down, and I'd stand up. I said, by the time that preacher got to the 15th one of those, I was wore out. I said, but I done figured out who invented Catholicism. It's the guy who has the patent on arthritis, pain formula, etc. Because the first thing you got to do when you leave the church is get to your pocketbook and get you some pain management stuff in those knees. And I said, after all that, I realized here comes another guy. He's got on 2 dresses and a dunce cap. And he's swinging this pot. Smoke's going everywhere. He said, my daddy plays dominoes more better than your daddy. I said, I don't really know why them people are doing all that. But I know the Excedrin people's in there with the nasal spray at the same time. Light bearer life stories from the past. Take a breath. Come on. Today we get a chance to move out in these people. Today we get a chance to move out. They get a chance to smile, listen to what they're saying, give them a chance to express themselves. And we have a captivated audience to care about. A captivated audience to care about. People need to talk. They need to know that their life is steady. They need to know that it's tough. But life is forceful and adaptive and creative. And it's just listening. What brings you here? Breathe. Very capable. Because what, if you do what I ask you to do, you can always blame it on me. Whatever goes wrong or good or whatever happens, you can always blame me. Breathe. We're scary, aren't we? Just see how calm we get. You all wait for something to move, just like me. We ain't scared. I think it's cool. Come on. I can feel us. Don't you guys get that? Do you understand that? I can feel us. I know where we are energetically. Well, I set us up spiritually. We created this with breathing, caring about breathing when you came in, and then the power of our breath and our breathing for those who have lost everything. That means we gateway a system and structure by which we can gain everything, depending on exactly what we're focused on here today. That's the law. It ain't maybe that works, or it might be possible that it works. I said, well, Daniel, give me another example of that. Okay. Well, I've been in congestive heart failure for 45 years. I've been dead so many times, it's a damn comedy routine. And I'm here in front of you. I might be old, but I'm still funny.
And you're good looking.
Tell it, baby. It's about how you care about you. It's about how you focus on you. How you focus on you, and how you identify yourself as a light bearer. I'm giving you the secrets. The framing of the language in a psychology that's in English. The framing of the language that's in a psychology that's conveyed into English. Okay, and I'll make it a parable. A light bearer. We are not the sun that shines, now the warmth that enters a room on a warm spring day, but a window pane. Just a means by which that light can pass through us and into this world. And what is our job? To keep that window pane as clean and as clear as we can by never losing our integrity and never letting our compassion be anything but the strength that moves us forward. So then what we would ask for was understanding. To know those few secrets to understanding where I am when I am. Number one, it is never what happens, it's why it happened. It is never what was done, it was the intent that structures it is the only thing. Because if you're an ethereal spiritual being and you're not this body, how can you not look at reality from that perspective based on I just proved I was right? See how crazy we are? I just did it. It's on that tape. Got nowhere to go. Aren't we fun? This is what you forget about who we are. We tough. We're tough. We can endure and we wait for a time and in a moment. Well, we're here. And I know this is a little scattered for you newcomers. Okay? But let me ask you something. Are you guys right here, you newcomers here, are you having fun? And is anything like you thought it would be? Yeah, if it wasn't a little crazy, why would you even want to come here? What? And I'm just telling you the truth. That's all I'm doing. So, the first one is how you, once a physical action occurs, you set a value of that. And the only thing that matters outside of the physical at that point was a memory. And what you move by and you take action with is based on the value you placed on whatever physically occurred within your range. Right? Right. Okay? So knowing that as a fact, whatever the value you placed on it was controlled by the intention of the deliverer, not the event. It's never what happens. It's what was first that matters in the imprint. That's the second trap of physicality, of being a physical being, trapped in thinking to think like you're a physical being. You are not. End of story. Breathe. I'm sorry this truth is like a bitch and everything on Friday afternoon, you know. But hey, if he didn't die and he didn't go to hell, it certainly wasn't listening to that fool. Because if I'm watching anybody on stage, he should have died, he damn sure should have gone to hell. All right, so let's get to the kicking point. When you were chosen to come here as a light bearer, you had to pass a test. And when you were asked these questions, you were the best of the best with your answers. The best of the best. Breathe. All power is structured physically, mental, emotionally, which are the same. Mental and emotional are the same. There is no cosmic anything in emotions. And emotions is an opinion you have based on how much you like or don't like something, based on the value you placed on the action taken towards you. Okay, that's something you're thinking about. That's not something you feel, and you think it to an intensity that the feeling creates a chemical reaction in your body that still creates that. End of story. Wherever you want to go, that's still the truth. Breathe. These are things you will notice. You probably have noticed some of them anyway, either hunger or what you're eating or the taste in your mouth, because the period is on us. It's not maybe it's coming, it's here. Hello, okay? So, power. If a divine being, and you worship God, and it was Jesus, and Jesus walked up to you, or whoever you thought, Buddha, or one of them sacred cows in India, you know, come on, I'm going to be a sacred cow. I mean, you're going to be worshiping, praying, meditating. You're going to turn out to be a hungry cow in India. I don't think much of that religion, I'm sorry. Such a cynic, don't you know? So how would you identify yourself based on there was those questions? How would you identify yourself? In power, you come across these questions. To rule and to have the world that you want in the way you want it in your own most selfish, egotistical way. This is how you do it. You must answer, think of this, if you had to answer this question to God or whoever you held holy today. And that question was, what is the value and power of your love? Say it to me. Well, but thank you for doing that. I didn't mean for that to happen. But wait. It tells me where we are. It tells me where we are. Come on, we're cool. I love this energy. See where we are? I can feel us. We're breathing. We're family. We're friends. We're getting focused. What's the value and power of our love? What's the value and power of our belief system based on the power of your love? What is the power of the choices that you're making, and are they the best? And what's the value and power of your prayer? So in the rituals of the old system, we open with a prayer using the breath of life for all those who physically lost everything. Whoever who lost everything physically, exactly what I said. I can convert those energy patterns. Isn't that funny? I understand how the system structures itself, what it does, and how the variables operate based on certain value systems, based on everybody in the world only is afraid of two things. There is nothing else they're afraid of. Helplessness and loneliness. That's what they're afraid of. It ain't death, it ain't life, it ain't what's next, it ain't if mama's okay. The only reason there weren't enough mamas were okay so she could ask her why she left him. Why'd you leave me here? I hate you. You won't even come back and make the lights flicker. See, finally, so what near death did was it created a possibility that everything we've ever been told is not true. that it's not true. And all the stories and the way we've structured our reality as it is transforming, is not on solid ground. But we have the three things that the near-death experiences has taught us. We have the three things that the near-death experience has taught us that we can operate from. Number one, nobody's going to die. I wish all of you would die. It still ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen, so, curse it. And you are not that body if 95% of everybody who's ever had a near-death experience, a real one, there's two things that are the power of when you're listening to a near-death experience. And this is what you listen to. You listen to if they lifted out of their body and what were they looking at. Yeah, and their body, but they noticed other things. Okay? Number two. Boy, you guys are on it. The recognition that you are not that body. They are not that body. That's a fact. You could learn, if you want to fight, if there's a life after death, what everybody goes through and all that, that's not what we're defending. As a light bearer, we're not defending what's next. Whoa, blah, yeah. I mean, golly. I know nobody's going to die. And I know the way over there and I know the way back. And that's a fact, Jack. And do I look like I'm scared I'm going to die? Huh! Be making another deal, but I want a new body this time. So I've already decided how I'm going to outsmart them. I got the EES systems down the hall, everybody. Okay, so here's what, listen to me now, listen to me. Because I need questions, so let's take a deep breath. Okay, so let's say that we were going to change the frequency. Breathe. So what we would do now is the EES systems. The EES systems is down the hall. And sometime in the course of your time here, you go in there and you sit down. You give yourself 3 minutes or 4 minutes, no more than that. But when you go in there, think of this. What is the value and power of my love? What is the value and power of my belief system? What is the value and power of my choices, and are they good? And what is the value and power of my skill at prayer? I know the system will increase the power of your knowledge of understanding your ability to pray, to be able to move into a field of energy where it's called non-local healing to the Hindus and Swamis and all that kind of stuff all over the world, but it's proven there's a history. There's a field that exists that can be generated, and moving in there, understanding the systems of how to use that energy based on a structure, you can expand and do good work. And I understand that from ethereal understanding. And I live in that field all the time anyway. We all do. I'm just hyper aware of it because, like I used to say, some people are enlightened. I was enlightening. Okay, so here we go. Now that we're going to make sure we go in there, we sit down, we take the 3 minutes. Don't mess with me. Take the 3 minutes. Okay, do it. Those who got more than just today, give others time so we don't go in there and crowd the place up. But go in there and use a direction. You pay attention to your breathing and look at it as a sacred field that you're entering to achieve your goals. What higher goals could you set if you're an electrical being and you're not that body and you're not going to die? What higher goals could you set as the value of your love, the value of your belief, the value of your choices, and the power of your prayer? Was a bad Friday, huh? We bad. We have to, it's going to get more powerful on us, so we look for ways to charge our energetic self, our energetic field. We could do it chemically. We could do it chemically to a certain point, but the energetic pattern has changed. So we have to go energetic, not because the universe is moving and she's shifting and she's changing. I have lived to see the future. I got it from the near-death experience. And I built one of the largest end-of-life care volunteer programs for dying veterans in American history. And I'm a co-author of the standard end-of-life care model that is now used by the Veterans Administration called No Vet, Die Alone. I am its co-author. When I came to the VA, in 1984, they did not have a palliative or hospice program. When I left them as an organization in 2021, they had one, and it was mine. So from a near-death experience and believing what I saw and believing what I believed about what was happening in a chaotic world, I never stopped. Why? And when you have your panoramic life review, everybody, you would see your entire life path before you in a 360-degree panorama. You'll watch it from a second-person point of view as though you are your very best friend. So you don't feel so bad when you look at how stupid an action you took. You retarded, ignoramus, dumbass. How in the world could you have been thinking that crap? Got it? Okay, so you got to look at it from a second-person point of view and hope that's your very best friend so you don't feel completely like a moron. I already been through this 4 times, everybody. And let me tell you the worst part about a panoramic life review. It don't pick up where the last one left off. It starts right over. Okay, here we go, beating up the little crippled polio boy. Okay, here we go. Oh, God, now think about 50 years later looking back at that stuff. Oh, please. Oh, but there were a few really good ones. I'm going to tell it to you. Watch this. Come on, stay with me because it's personal. When I went to the VA in the early years, they didn't have phones, and they had to pay for their own food, and they're in the hospital. So I fought the system to get them food, and I fought the system. A dying veteran's got to pay for his own food. And so I got this guy named Bruce to give me these phone cards. Bruce was like a scammer. And so what they would do is if you had 3 minutes left on your phone card, they wouldn't let you make a number, so they would automatically skim those minutes and roll them over into another one. Okay, and that's how they run scams. All right, so he gave me these $5, $20 cards. And I would take these cards around, and I'd say, let's call somebody. He said, well, I can't use the phone. I don't have any money. I said, okay, you got 20 minutes. Who you want to call? And I'd punch it up and hand him the phone. Breathe. Stop it. Stop it. It's about the panoramic life review. Okay, you were taking it personal because I said it was personal. You automatically locked me because you're a bunch of empathetic, loving little sons of bitches just like I am. You know, oh, God, we got to hug this fool. Come on now. Oh, well. Come on, I know how we are. Come on. So I dial them up, and I heard some of the most heart-wrenching horror stories, begging for forgiveness. That's when I became anti-war. I'm not a activist, but I'm against war because I see what it does to human beings. I see what it does. And I've been with 2,017 of them in my 48 years. So somebody think they're going to tell me? Come on. I have probably 40,000 hours at the bedside. So I got to Curtis. Curtis was a Navy guy. He weighed about 350 pounds, and he was eating himself to death. And I said, okay, Curtis, because I was always in the VA. I've been in VAs for 40 years. I love veterans, and I've been in the VA. So I said, Curtis, who you want to call? He said, I know the number. So I dialed it up, and Curtis, I thought I was going to hear another sad story. Okay? This was the guy who was his best friend who stole his wife while he was on a med cruise. And it so destroyed him, he was eating himself to death because he was helpless and done gone as broken. And he cussed that human being for every word. I mean, I never heard such talk, okay? And when he went about of the 20 minutes, he went about 14 minutes, a you low good wife, husband, best friend. I mean, oh my God, it was better than days of our lives. And he handed me the phone, and I put it down, and he put his hands behind his head and crumped his fingers together, and he took his last breath. When you have your panoramic life review, and you're going to be every person that you ever encounter, and you're going to feel the direct results of your interaction between you and that person. Think about the feeling that I had when it was him looking at me when he put his hands behind his head to take his last breath, and I was him. That's called the glory of God. Breathe. The only time the truth hurts is if you hide from it too long. What a terrible Friday afternoon I've created for you. You have got to go out and go to the EES system. Then you got to go love and listen to everybody talking bullshit. Okay, and then you got to act like you're interested. And what's in it for you? We already set the return. We gave it before we started. Those who physically lost everything. We're not physically trying to gain anything. We're trying to spiritually have clarity about a word that the only thing that would have brought you here was just light bearer. It's, I know what I'm doing, everybody. I'm sorry. But light bearers, and then that poetic phraseology I'm using, will touch whoever comes. Okay, so let's take a deep breath. The answers to the questions, the ones I always use. What is the value and power of my love? I can make a difference. What's the value and power of my belief system? I am the difference. What's the value and power of my choices, hoping they are the best? I can still make a difference. And what's the value and the power of my prayer? That's what I came to learn. And if you got those, nothing moves. It just gets calm, and you just watch it, and it'll show itself. Nothing defies the law. Nothing. And a compassionate perspective of keeping an intention of trying to do the best thing first, but not get guilt between taking the action or not taking the action. You let guilt get between taking the action and not taking action. No matter if you take it, you get guilty. If you don't take it, you get guilty. That's insane. It's insane. We're still doing it. We're still doing it, so we stop it. Breathe. You came here to find transformation and locking in a place. I hope that what I'm trying to do is give you a level of consciousness to look at this, and then a protocol to follow. Because the only other thing I'm going to ask before I get a couple of questions is this, that when you leave me, other than going to the EES systems, I need you to do it. Because we set it up perfect so it flows, and you think about the 4 things you want to know the answer to. Is I need you to go on Amazon or somewhere in this show and buy some trace minerals. I don't want a single person to leave this place that hasn't purchased it, thought about it, or made a commitment to have trace minerals. You have to have them. You have to have them. I'm not going to tell you need potassium and magnesium, but I'm just telling you this. I give trace minerals the key to my whole life. How I'm able to get back up from the dead is I use trace minerals as my baseline. I eat a lot of fruit and compensate for the sugar, but trace minerals. The body does three things. It does compound, enzyme, and solution reactions. When you've been dead, you see that and how it all works. I've seen how it works, how it metabolizes, how it converts chemicals into energy. Okay, how else could I do this? Hocus pocus? I wish I had some iron, Newt. So if you get your trace minerals, the body does three things: compound, enzyme, and solution reactions. Compound, enzyme, and solution reactions. Basic chemistry. Basic chemistry. Well, what does it need in order to do compound, enzymes, and solution reactions? It will need trace minerals. So if you want to get well, or you find that ESS systems or energetic systems do not leave here without looking at every electrical device, every energetic device. Look at them. You are that. You are that. People say, well, you know, Dannion, I've liked you for a lot of years, you know. But I think you're talking a little crazy now, you know. I said, well, okay. Let's say that I could prove that you are not here. Let's try this magic trick. Take a deep breath. The basic physical structure that we know of that exists today is a neutrino. Okay? And neutrinos spin around, and they make up atoms. Then you get a bunch of atoms spinning around. Then they become frequencies, and they become waves. This is all science. Become frequencies and become waves. And then they become molecules. Then they spin around, become frequencies and waves. And next thing you know, they become cells. And the next thing you know is you're made of 10 trillion cells. The body's got 10 trillion cells. Wow. So you say, well, that sounds like a lot of stuff there, Dannion. Well, if you put an atom under an electron microscope, it's 99% empty space. If you put a molecule under an electron microscope, that's today, right now, any lab, anywhere in America. It's empty space. And if you put a cell under an electron microscope, and you have 10 trillion of them, you have 10 trillion of them, it's 99.999999996% empty space. So every atom and every molecule and every cell that you think you're sitting in right there ain't even here. And the science says you are not here. That's your science. That's the science that makes your cell phone work. What do you want to bet? Isn't that fun? Breathe. You're not even here, crazy. Can't you understand it? You're the window pane. You don't have to buy the tape, okay? I don't want to hear no more of that. You need to get this tape. We're just the window pane. Stay with the facts. I'm trying to get you through the EE system. I'm trying to get you some trace minerals, and I'm trying to learn how to love yourself, how to believe something, how to make the right choices, and how to search for the power of your prayer. And if your main goal in life is to look for the understanding, the power of your prayer, because it's one of the spiritual dynamics, you have kicked the door open again to the compassion of who you are. Everything you do for goodness is a prayer. It's a gift. When you see your life pass before you, it's those little tiny things that you've done, that your heart's broken over something your youngins did, but the things that you did to help somebody pick them up. The nature of divinity. You're facing yourself, but at the same time you see what God sees. The person that judges you in the panoramic life of you is you. But at the same time you see what God sees, the essence of the beauty of magnificence, a flow and rhythm of such overwhelming ethereal power. And you chose to come here, and you chose to come here. And why? Now, I'm not 100% certain of this, okay? Not that everything else I've said before this, I am 100% certain of. I will go up against anything. I don't care. You will lose. Have at it. Have at it. But I believe we come in systems, and I don't know how to say it. This is how it worked. When the beings of light had seen me all the future events, they stopped me and told me that we were heroes and heroines, okay? Because we were brave enough to come here physically to co-create with God. A level and layer of consciousness that is inconceivable by most levels of consciousness. That physically, where it all supposed to begin, love can become creative and power and glow and hold and preciousness and reward and celebration, not what this hell on earth stuff is. That's the big fight, right? So when you look at it from that point, boy, you guys are good, man. Did you realize, let me ask you, did you realize that you were sending a wave of energy to me? Be honest? Okay, but thank you. But I could feel it. I mean, I could feel that. Well, thank you. So when that occurs, then the joy that comes from that someone else saw it. So you got to show off a little bit. Got to pay attention a little bit longer. Hope the first person goes away quicker. Yeah. Caregivers are fun. I mean, in my place in life is this. I have had such a great time filling this vision. I've been at it 50 years. And when you see your life pass before you in a 360-degree panorama, and you watch it from a second-person point of view, and you literally become every person that you ever encounter, and you feel the direct results of your interaction between you and that person. And then somewhere the test of what you know and everything about you will be something, and this is a Dannion way of saying it. There are a lot of ways more sophisticated and a lot more structure within the concept of the psychological nature of how you develop it. But if God couldn't come today and God sent you, in the life you just reviewed, what difference did you and God make? I've built my whole life based on that, and I've been in hospice and palliative and end-of-life care because I understand it. I'm an authority in end-of-life care and in near-death experiences and hospice and compassion and caregiving. So if you want to come play with me, I'm Dannion.com. Go and look at it, because finally I get a chance in the state I came from, my own hometown. Why? Because I'm an arrogant, pompous, great, powerful, and mighty spiritual being with dignity, direction, and purpose. Remember, I added arrogant, pompous. And they tell you can't be a Messiah in your own hometown? Huh. I'll fix them. I know I'm not supposed to be that bad, but I am. Okay, so let's take a deep breath. Let's think of something that we're thankful for. Let's hold it. And let's let its value be equal to or greater than anything that we have held that has harmed us. And the power of our love and the power of our belief, the power of the choices we will now make, will guide us toward understanding the power of our love to be able to differentiate and to discern in where we are as light bearers. Come back to me. Questions? Come on now.
Thank you for sharing, by the way, I love it. But when you talk about beliefs, I think the trickiest part there is many people, most people, don't know why they believe what they believe. Because like most of your thing is that we believe we are grown up in this religion, we believe these things, we have no idea why, but it applies to many things in our life. So how do you deconstruct that or rewrite it?
Well, that's exactly what you're doing here. Light bearer. Identify. If I got to be in the Swami business, I got to be cosmic because they done burnt down the damn Palisades. Said I better get back to the earth because I will be shaking coons and digging up trash. I mean, So what you do, you find something to look at within the physical and spiritual world. The near-death experience is it. Here's God. I always say God's a woman, right? Why? Because it makes people mad. So she's hanging out in heaven, and she's at the bar doing cloud shots, right? And she's got Peter and Michael and Gabriel. He put the horn down. She said, I know what. She said, you know what the problem is? The only difference between those doctors and me is I never thought, no, wait a minute. The only difference between God and a doctor is God never thought she was a doctor. And she said, so I'm listening to them scaring everybody to death and drugging them and crap. So I'm going to send a bunch of aggravating sons of bitches back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it their fault. Because what brought me back? Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Pulmonary resuscitation brought me back. So they did it. So who's the fault of it is I got this wild and crazy story about the near-death experience. It's theirs. Who's the liar? Well, there's 25 million more of me. Well, why are they back here? Advancements in cardiopulmonary resuscitation and advanced disease studies. So she says, try that, boys. So what you do is you ground in the near-death experience. Number one, you're not going to die. So now what they say, ever how you transcend is based on a value. And the value is based on the time of how many breaths you thought it would take for you to breathe to achieve the goals that you two decided, or you and the divine force decided on. You come per breath. The breath in and the breath out are two completely different breaths. So you start with your breath. You find a place in your breathing, which is just about that. Then once you do that, where you do it a couple of times a day, and it's just a minute or 2 minutes, and then you add it as an opening. You stop and clear your mind. It's not meditative. It's opening up to be the window pane. It's opening up so that the divine can flow through you with whoever you are, whatever you're doing into this space. It doesn't have to be in a crisis situation, but it works. But it's better when it's just you with your feet on the ground, your feet touching the earth, Mother Earth, the 7.83 Gaia hertz. I mean, the worst thing that ever happened to humanity and the best thing was electricity, because we're not on a lunar cycle. We're not where the earth operates in the lunar cycle 28 days like it was in 1776. I have the Bible. Okay, so we're not on the lunar cycle. So you start paying attention to how the lunar cycle is working, what day it is in the phase of the moon, and you operate it within the context of that. And you just do it. You don't tell anybody or talk about it. Just do it. It's what I do. I'm going to get the most out of the earth as I can get without doing anything wrong. And I will be as helpful and as kind and as supportive as I possibly can. And I will achieve my goals. I'm at the final phase of a 50-year mission. I'm just warming up. I'm going to crack on them one big time, one more good one. Okay, so does that help? Somebody? Come on, come on. Yes, ma'am?
I'm new to all this concept that you're speaking of, but my takeaway from it is being a light bearer for, I have a 16-year-old and a 20-year-old, and everything
taking care of you, make you responsible for you, until you're appreciated because you're not. Look, I know all this stuff. I know it all. You're not being appreciated. So the effort that you're going through to put it forth to try to keep balance and harmony in the family is not being appreciated. Light bearer would resent that. No matter how good and kind and loving and all that stuff we are, don't be pissing us off. I'm sorry. Don't be doing it, okay? So to not be appreciated is that place where you're operating from. So you stop and take care of you. And you're conscious that you hope they are mindful. You hope they are mindful, or you pray they are mindful. Because when you wield power to care about you and the divine mission you have to give them the ability to be as weird as they are, come on, that's a compliment. Then you also have that divine right.
But when you speak about the world, it has changed so much, and you start getting into that scared or frightened, fearful for this generation now.
I am there. I am there, but so what you do is you talk about their dreams. You want to know their dreams. You can't use the term aspirations because that makes them commit to becoming physical. Where they are is now having to commit from the world of the elusive nature of spiritual reality growing in every way into commitment in the world, got to grow up, got to be something, the way the system controls and moves them outward. And you going through emptiness, not being appreciated, you putting everything you've got in to raise these crazy little wonderful creatures. So how you would do that, I can analyze that stuff really fast. You know, it's like weeks, somebody will come to the same conclusion, but I get it because I live among this all the time. Then you set a value of who you are. And you set responsibilities on them while you're taking care of you. They either will do it or they won't. But the responsibility you give them is about them paying attention to something, about themselves or a value or something that we can work on as you're working through what you're going through. The same thing you as mom are doing too. The world is changing, and you see that. So I have to take care of myself, so you have to do this, you have to do this. I don't really know what to tell you to do, okay? But it better not be anything that causes me stress while I'm taking care of me. If you say it directly, and you say it with the conviction as a light bearer, because the moment you use that term to identify yourself, look how fast I lock on it. I'm on it. Don't be messing with my baby. Y'all better come on up here and get you something, then that's all I can tell you. I'm ready. Hello. Yes, ma'am?
I knew a teacher in nursing school who had a near-death experience,
Well, she had it coming.
but she said she really didn't want to come back, and I read it in the that people feel that.
Well, then she didn't know she was a light bearer because this is the highest paying spiritual job in 20 galaxies. Okay, the last part I wanted to make that I didn't finish in the other part is what the beings of light said, because we come to co-create. We come to co-create. Okay? And to come to co-create, there is no one. But what I saw at that moment was that they are depending on us. Not that they were such great good guys and glorious angels from the heavens of ethereal love and Jesus and God and blah, blah, blah. But they were dependent on us to hold our loving presence in a physical world, to not let the world pull us outward from who our true spiritual, loving, prayerful nature is. And that we could stay there, and only the great ones even attempted. Only the very best come here. So the worst person you see is the best one there is. But ain't none of them better than you. Because you got here too, because you had the answers to the value and power of your love, the value and power of your belief, and you lived up to your belief system in support of your love, the choices that you were making if they were the best. Who is they the best for would be the next question. Next question would come after you answered those was who would they be the best for? See how they play that game? I know those answers too. You can't kill me 3 or 4 times and think I won't get interested in subject matter. I promise you that, cuz. And what are they going to do to me? What can you do to me? Same as you. Okay, you had a question, then you. Okay. No, her. No, let's get her first. Well, when it comes to that, I'll just sit down and do it. I just time it to how long the body can stand it. I mean, nobody's figured it out. No, I got these new cardiologists, right? Because I moved from Nevada to South Carolina. So I got these new cardiologists that they're so sad, little babies, you know. The little babies, they take my blood pressure and they look at me and they do a scan. And then they do what my ejection fraction is, you know, all the things about it. And they all just sit and look at each other, and they don't know how to deal with the fact that I'm smiling and laughing and supposedly dead. Okay? And with the little new one, he's like 35. He said, "Did you walk in here?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You drove yourself over here?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to be driving myself home too." "Why, what's the problem?" I said, "Once you get to $22 for me coming here, what's the issue?" He said, "Well, you know, we don't very often see a person that has an ejection fraction hovering around less than 20. And you can't live and function under 50. And you're in here. And you're making fun of us." "Yeah. Well, I ain't in this body, honey." And I believed it because it happened to me. So when I tell you that, you can go ahead and believe it or be crazy. Okay, so when it comes my time, I'll time it. No, so you already are sensing the energetic pattern leaving? Yeah, good enough. Well, it's true. Yeah, it's true. I don't have a problem. Okay?
So I'm wondering what boxes of knowledge have to say, or if they said about the fires we recently had, because I lost my home in Altadena, and many other people did, and I realized that I have something very important to learn from that, maybe about non-attachment. But it's still hard to understand why so many people were impacted, and how we can get the best out of that, how we can make something better from that death experience for me.
Oh, no question.
Did the boxes of knowledge help you to understand, like, is there an intention behind this evil that happens so that we can?
It was planned.
Yes, I know that.
Okay, it was planned. Look, it was planned. Watch. When you start to think about that and how you manage it, first you grieve. You're not through it yet. Lost everything. You grieve. Okay, that means you hold it inside and you grieve. Because watch. When the CEO of Moderna admitted last Monday they had the vaccine prepared 2 years before the COVID virus. He said it on tape. The vaccine was done in cartons 2 years. I don't really need to know much other than that with my basic knowledge. I don't need, and if that's true, which I know that it's true, then when I look at this, and Gail Thackeray, the last one, Gail lost everything. She lost every single thing, and she's here teaching, and she's here doing, and she's still keeping that light lit. That's why I support her 100%. Okay? But you have to grieve. This is horrible. You know, and it's a new world. And, you know, you try to find some way to blame yourself for the evil of it. This was a planned experiment to create a change of the whole way they're trying to develop the system. Here's the facts. December 21st, 2012, the old period came to an end. This is Mayan. The old period came to an end, and the new period began. There was only the lingering stuff, but we're here. So when you look at it, that means we're in the 13th year, which is the 13-year cycles of how the monthly is, 12 months in a year, 13 months in a year, just like the Maya said, okay? What the Maya said about the past age was that all things not done in integrity would collapse. We are watching our entire world collapse, and if you watch the news, the USAID, what they've been doing with our tax money and that with what they're showing us, not what somebody's saying, not some conspiracy. I can read it and see. Who wants to teach Moroccans about pottery? You ever been to Morocco? I've been to Morocco. They've been making pottery for 6 million years. Moroccans got pottery down to God, and I'd see, when I look at this, I'm glad this is happening. I'm glad. You know, why? Because golly, whatever price we paid to get it this crazy, there must be a price that's being paid. What I'm watching in this is the new super cities. I'm watching this legislature in the California legislature about super cities. The 15-minute where you walk, you own nothing, all that. Then it's the same as where you look at not Pasadena, but the last Paradise. It's the same. When you can't see the trees burn and the car is melted and there's nothing left. I see how many had smart meters. All of them but 6. Smart meter has a lithium battery. That lithium can heat the whole house. That battery can be charged and it can heat all the wiring in the house. It burns to the ground. It's easier to clean up.
So how do we recover? How do we make something good out of it? How do we keep our community so that we don't get 15-minute cities?
Wait, first you grieve. Then you come to a period of when it's going to end, because that's where you are. Then you ask questions. You ask questions. It's basic knowledge and asking questions. At our age, we deserve to be able to ask some questions. But we can, because it's stuff that we don't understand, and we can get away with that. Then they're going to have to answer you in ways that you understand how they set it up. There is how you make a change. We must expose corruption calmly, smartly, open-heartedly. There is a power, there is a power that I haven't yet been able to grasp. You know, it's one of the missing things of my life. It's called redemption. You know, I have redeemed myself in a certain way over who I was before to who I am. But somewhere in it, in order for the power to truly work, we have to hope for a redeeming value that comes from them, not from us, but from them. And that's where forgiveness and power plays. I mean, that's the ultimate hook, you know, with me being philosophical and spiritual as opposed to answering them evil son of a bitches burning down your house. All right, I love everybody. Thank you. Well, did you enjoy me? Thank you, everybody. I love you. Please breathe, and do not miss going to the ESS program. 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
Where do we find you and your books, Dannion?
Okay, at your house. I think I have a booth. I don't know, it don't matter. That's cool. Oh, I touch all the time, honey. I'm the greatest toucher in the universe. Get down here and get some of that serious hugging.
So last year they were having CDs, DVDs, are they doing that this year or is it all digital?
So what'd you think about that?
Somebody left their phone up here in the front row. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. If we could please, we need to clear out the room. I know you guys want to stay back and have conversations with Dannion, but we need to clear out the room. We need to get ready for the next workshop, so we appreciate your cooperation. Please take your belongings with you.